A clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade. Whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There he is. We're back again. One more hour. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We're old school, the new school way. We just switched the spots there. We went from a lead. He went from point guard to shooting guard, and I went from shooting guard to point guard. But we are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Grease and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andromat / Old Cheney, and 168th in there in Maple, up there in the the Metro. We normally go live from 1040 O Street, but we are live down here actually at the Mandalay Bay pre-Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas. A lot of excitement in the air, and Las Vegas does everything bigger and better. So we'll see what happens not only tonight, but tomorrow. But there's a lot going on in the league that probably fits Vegas the most. I say the NFL is the entertainment business. And one of the things that has not been entertaining, obviously, as a former player, and then obviously thinking about the future players and the present players is, I guess, the turmoil inside the walls of the NFLPA. I mean, you can't hide it with the sense of, D. Smith retiring, the hire of the new, executive director seemed kind of shady at best, right? Didn't have a lot of experience in unions, and then had some baggage that came with him. Tumultuous, ever since he became, the director for the NFLPA. And then you started to hear, I don't know how it came out that that he like essentially withheld a lawsuit at his previous jobs numerous times. And then was essentially using, and then we had ownership in a consulting company that the NFL used that could get information on NFL owners and ownerships and teams, and just forgot to tell people when everybody signed off for you to be the NFLPA, essentially executive vice president. And then a couple of days after that, when you resigned, you said, "Man, you know what? I was just going to just hang out with the players." I knew exactly where they were going to be at the strip club. And you know what? I need a car service to and from, and I want to use the company credit card because I'm trying to forge some relationship with some of those upstanding players that I know that I'm going to have to meet with in the future at your local strip club establishment. And then J.C. Trader, who had been very vocal, and leading players into that new CBA, stepped down as well and withdrew his name from any consideration to be the next NFLPA, president or whatever you want to call it, which is probably as interesting or more interesting, the fact that he resigned. So that let me, I guess I'll just assume, and I don't know if it's a safe assumption, that there's some dirt on him too, right? Or would that seem right?
It kind of seems that way. Oh, and let's not forget with the NFLPA, Jay, this is the same group that was left in the dark by the NFL colluding against quarterbacks, some of the players that the NFLPA is paid to represent. And then, for better or worse, the NFLPA says, you know what? We're going to collude right back. Players, fake your injuries, right? Milk it. It has not been a banner month for the NFLPA. I thought JC Treader was more popular going into this. It's pretty incredible just how quickly his support dwindled among players. Sure, you always have your backers, former teammates, or guys you cross paths with once or twice. But man, for him to be what kind of felt like the catbird seat, to take over this position as a former player himself, to just out of the blue say, nope, I got to get out of here too. Whether there's something going on or not, if you look at the optics of it, it's just another, black eye on the NFLPA, and not the whole PA, right? I'm sure there are good people doing good work in there as well. But at the very top, that you have Howell being that distracted and Treader feeling the need to follow him right out the door. Yeah, that doesn't strike me as a good sign.
Yeah, it's not been a good couple weeks or a good couple months, and and it wasn't just the quarterbacks getting colluded on, and obviously one of them was the face of the league at the time, and Russell Wilson. It was players like myself. And then now, as you move forward with the CBA that's got quite a few years left on it, and like I said, the players sold their souls to be able to smoke weed without losing any games or a paycheck. And now you're in this situation. Now you wonder if there could be possibly class action lawsuits that not only go back to the beginning of this, but even predating it. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the NFL and the government that'll probably have to come in and rule on it. When it'll be ruled on, it might be 25 years from now. But it's definitely not a good look as far as the NFL as a whole. The owners, Goodell, the NFLPA, even though you guys are, across each other in negotiating lines, you should be working together. Whether it's a concussion lawsuit, doctors messing up, surgeries, getting a second or third opinion. There's an article coming out now that the players are able to go back and sue some of the doctors that didn't maybe operate with the utmost clarity as possible, and that they don't have enough insurance to pay it, so they're losing good doctors or potential good doctors based on being able to be rogue in the previous years. And so you're seeing a power shift, but then also the sad part is the NFL players they don't have guaranteed contracts. They have great benefits, but they're not as good as other leagues. That's just without a doubt. But the NFL is the number one professional sport in the world, and the players get less. Now you have the leadership essentially selling the players down the road. There's questions abound. It's sad, to be honest with you. But I think the big business thing, what maybe Howell was doing, I think that happens all the time. I think that guys that are union leaders are in bed with the owners. I just think it's bad when you're colluding against players that go put their lives on the line to earn paychecks, and you guys say, we'll work with you, owners, not to pay the players the maximum, but you're talking to billionaires about potential millionaires. I think it's just one of the things. It's just never ending. It's hard to see, and it's funny at the sense of like, you're recruiting and befriending players at a strip club or strip clubs. And who knows what else? Those are probably the 2 times you use the company card. The other time you say, I use my debit card. Why not? I just got a bonus. But then it's not, because there's a lot of guys that are affected by it, because everybody looks at the NFL as super Patrick Mahomes and those guys, Peyton Mannings and all that. Whereas the league is built on a lot of guys that you never hear from again. And a lot of these decisions that were made affect these guys a long term. And so, it'll be interesting to see where it shakes out and what the NFLPA does, not only in the short term, name a new leader and how they go about that process, but then how they get some of the goodwill back for some of the players, moving forward.
Yeah, what does that look like for the NFLPA in terms of earning that goodwill back? Because, I mean, with the way the CBA is written, everything that seems like it's slanted in the owner's favor with momentum, probably sooner and later building for that 18th game in the regular season, only 2 preseason games. Like you said, the players gave up a lot to get some kind of side benefits that they wanted. It doesn't seem to me like this is a moment, Jay, where the new NFLPA leader needs to come in and make a splash, right? This is my big platform. This is my big decision. I think the biggest splash whoever the next leader can make is just stability. It's just normalcy. Yeah. Just do your job. Show up for your players. Fight for them and what it is that they want. Talk them off the ledge when they think things are, the worst they've ever been. Maybe, kick their butt into gear about some issues that they're behind on. I don't think whoever it is that takes over needs to be some revolutionary, transformative character in NFLPA history. Just go be a normal kind of union rep lawyer type of dude who gets the job done, who goes home and makes things better for your players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it has to be like some sort of like sexy pick. I think it's somebody that's got to have some sort of experience, and I don't think necessarily it has to be a vast experience, but somebody that knows that that are really there for the players, but then also is rational enough to understand where the owners are coming from and try to make and understand what's best for the players and the owners and everybody else is best for the league and everybody can win. Somebody that has a good sense of what it's like to be a former player, because I think that also is something that probably gets glossed over. And then obviously somebody that's going to, have enough Tony Clark in their system to understand to stand up on stand on business. And then obviously to right the wrongs of the past. It's not going to happen overnight. And he's going to have to do a lot of goodwill, handshaking and talks to people that normally he might not have to when the goodwill was there. It's
funny that you bring up Tony Clark, because Tony Clark has been in the news a little bit in recent weeks as well. He's the executive director of the MLB Players Association, for those who might not know. Ahead of the All-Star game, he was talking to some reporters and says a cap is not about a partnership. A cap is not about growing the game. A cap is about franchise values and profits. That's what a cap is about. Tony Clark has had some good moments in charge of the MLB PA. But, Jay, this is where I think baseball is starting to, even more than normal, see a bit of that divide, right, between the haves and the have-nots. Yeah, There's been parity at the end of the season in terms of World Series results just due to the randomness of the game. But what baseball has that the NFL doesn't is guaranteed contracts, right? Yep. There aren't partial contracts. Everything is fully guaranteed in baseball, right? But what does the NFL have that Major League Baseball doesn't? A salary cap. And stuff like that, the guarantees in the salary cap, that leads to work stoppages. That's not something that you just say, oh, yeah, we'll just give that up willingly. If you're either side, the owners or the players, that's something that if the NFL, ever wants to, I think, rectify the fully guaranteed money, I don't know about you, but I think players would have to, as a baseline, give up one preseason game for an 18th regular season game. And then for baseball, if they want a salary cap and or a salary floor, maybe baseball ends up, going more the NFL model with the partial guarantees, right? Obviously, the minimum salary, I think, would have to be raised in baseball. But both of those leagues, on top of everything we've mentioned in the NBA over the course of the last few years with that new CBA in the new TV rights deal, things are fine, I think, in the general financial landscape in American professional sports of those big three at least. But man, there are some situations in all three of the CBAs that we have right now in those leagues that have the potential to get dicey and lead to work stoppages down the line. Yeah, and it's, I don't think, that's ever the solution. You never want to get to that point, but sometimes you got to stand on business, and WNBA is facing it right now.
So I think that's just part of these sports is there's billions and billions of dollars, and everybody feels like they have a bigger hand in the success of whatever sport that may be. And I think for me, I'd rather play regular season games if I had, and I think if I was asked, I know they're guaranteeing more guys contracts obviously in the first round. Okay, well, guys that sign contracts, have some of it insured, but then also have, like a 5-year contract, the first 3 guaranteed,
Mm-hmm.
Or some of the, more guaranteed money. And it might be less overall money, more guaranteed years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That could be the start and then move forward and then eventually fully guaranteed contracts. And then longer benefits after you get done playing. Because a lot of, it goes without saying, a lot of the stuff in the NFL, obviously, I know affects you after the first 3 or 4 or 5 years after you get done playing. Your body starts to really deteriorate and break down. So, I think there's the way to get there. It's going to be hard to get the owners to budge because you've already essentially, like, Memphis gave them everything. They would have let you smoke weed. You could smoke weed. How about not smoke weed and go out there and play, right?
How about
that? For 16, 17 weeks, or, you only get drug tested once or twice. If you can't pass if you can't pass a Greek mythology test twice and you got the answers, well, then you're a dummy. You know what I mean? There's nothing that, that you would like to do that outside of football that's going to affect me getting paid that much. But then you gave away a lot of things that you shouldn't have, which would have brought you up to snuff with all those other major sports, as far as benefit wise, and you missed the opportunity. And the problem is that's different than baseball. Now I'll let you go, Austin, is that the top players understand the lower players because they had to come up to the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. The NFL, Jalen Hurts is very, very rational, very, very humble. But a lot of the guys that are top players, they don't associate with the lower players. And the problem with that is when you have reps that are your top players, that's the 1% of the league. The 98.5% of the league is where you need guys to understand. You got to know what the street free agent is thinking about, because that same street free agent could be a guy that eventually bounces around the league and gets vested, or breaks his neck, or gets misdiagnosed by a team doctor, whether it's directly or indirectly, that needs your help, that needs to know all the benefits, and needs the NFLPA to stand on business for them, not only in the present, but in the future. So until that's rectified, these stories will come out. And the owners will still keep getting paid, and they still will be running you around and running ragged. Right now, listen, these owners, hey, I got to give it to them. They playing a different type of game, and they playing it better than anybody else. You ever seen that show Succession?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You think you got them, and you walk out there, he's like, man, I thought we got a good deal, but we didn't. That's exactly where they're at right now.
You got played because for a lot of years you worked harder to do less work.
Yeah.
You did more just to do less. And it's really interesting you say that about the top 1% versus the 98, 99% down there at the bottom in the NFL. Because think about it, Jay, that's kind of what the NBA was going through there for a while. And we know in the NBA that these max salaries are, getting boosted like crazy, right? With what SGA is making, obviously, Tatum and Brown for the Celtics and their max contracts. There was a time in the NBA that has mostly gone away, and it was never fully gone, but that mid-level exception, that, trusty veteran that you can trust to play, 18 to 23 minutes per game, guys like that fill out your rotation, we're really going out of style. We're really getting squeezed out of the league because stars got a lot of money. You had the guaranteed, money and years on the rookie deals. And that's pretty much what you were doing. You were looking for either get your superstar or 2 or 3 there for a while, fill out the roster with bench players that are cheap, affordable, short contracts, all that sort of thing. And the middle class kind of got squeezed out. Now, it's not perfect, right? Because there's not really a mid-level exception in football. There's arbitration in baseball that they go through as opposed to the NFL with, franchise tags and qualifying offers and all that sort of fun stuff. So it's not a perfect one-to-one, but that's, I think, the trap that the NFLPA needs to try to avoid is don't just be all about your superstars who, yes, do bring in a lot of money. But to your point, the 1% might just make 1% of the money, but it's 95% of the impact of the day-to-day guys walking around on those rosters, putting in the same blood, sweat, and tears equity as those superstars for less money. You can't afford, for the health of the league in the long term, to squeeze out those guys that get vested after a while, that come with good perspective, that set the culture, that know their role on a team. That's not going to be healthy for the growth of the league in the long term if it's just stars and scrubs.
Right, because it won't have any longevity. And the football, we're seeing it right now where a lot of great athletes are in there, but not a lot of good football. Right, that's where you saw, you see it in the NBA too, where the basketball purists is like, this isn't good basketball. You just run and jacking up threes, and then you get in the playoffs, you try to play basketball like you should. That's the byproduct of it. Like in the NFL, they have like a baseline based on your tenure. Say like you play, like for me, 8-9 years. This is what your base salary has to be, and then they had it where it would count a little bit less against the salary cap, but you still counting as much as about 1.5, 2 rookies. So what I'm saying is this is for the NFL's version of a mid-level like exemption or whatever would be, is if Jay Foreman is an 8-9 year veteran, I want to continue along my career, and Austin is coming in as a either lower rounded rookie or street free agent rookie, priority rookie, and say you're making a third of what my base salary, well then let me have the mid-level exemption. I can do it. Maybe you could do it once or twice a career, that I can come in because I know I'm better, right? I know I bring more value, but now you can't use the salary cap, or the amount you have to pay me against me, because then once you perform, you're right back to where you're at. Because if you miss that year as a veteran, you're essentially out of the league because you're not playing, and then you're bouncing around, and then you're only going to be, brought in for a week or two here, and then you have no chance of actually increasing your value. Essentially, you're waiting, to be put in exile from the NFL.
You're waiting to get retired instead of being able to retire on your own terms, right? I mean, it's one of those things that if you're playing at 32, 33, and you have to miss one of those years, that's another year of production you could put towards your free agency case for the next year as a resume. It's the lack of those live game speed reps. And I like your idea of maybe once or twice in a career after your rookie contract, maybe getting that mid-level exception, exemption, whatever it is you want to call it. Because isn't it the case in the NFL, Jay, that a player can only be franchise tagged once? So there would be some precedent for that.
Yeah, and it's at certain levels. You can, you could be transition and all that. But I think it is. I mean, you got to think like, I always said I would have wished I could have played for, Bill Cowher or even Bill Belichick, but more or less Bill Cowher, Bill Parcells, or heck, Andy Reid or somebody like that, and say like, they'd be like, hey, Jay, I want you to come in. I want you to be a veteran presence. I want you to kind of mold a guy, and I could use it that time, to play, hand the reins over, and be in line for a championship. But I get to use my, it's like that thing in the back you keep in the back of your pocket. It's no different than Damian Lillard going home. It's like, all right, I'm going to get the, good guy, hookup and discount after I put in the work. You see it more in the NBA. You don't see it at all in the NFL. I think that'd be a great option for players to extend their career, because as you're asking guys to play more, the more years you can get under your belt increases your benefits. So it's got to be give and take. We talked about what you need from an NFLPA head. You need some, like, I guess, different ideas that might get shot down, but maybe start getting a think tank going on both sides of options to move forward. So guess what, Austin? You never had a work stoppage, but then more importantly, you don't have your leadership and players or whoever your player reps working against you, both internally and externally. With that being said, Jay Foreman, also in old school, the new school way. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to dive into my favorite team out there.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce is complicated. It affects every part of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions that it can take, it's times like this that you need a partner you can count on.
If you're a man facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today to connect with a local divorce attorney who understands the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Text GO99 to 323232. GO99 to 323232. GO99 to 323232. 1221 N Street, Lincoln. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, showers as much as possible this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies. Will be hot with a high near 97. Tonight, showers as much as possible, the low around 76. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot with a high around 99. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Get the baler you need without breaking the bank at Landmark Implement. Right now, qualified buyers can get 0% fixed for 36 months or stretch it out with a 2.9% fixed rate for 60 months on used John Deere 560M and R-Series round balers. Reliable, field-ready, and priced to move. Don't miss your chance to lock in serious savings before the next cutting rolls around. Visit your local Landmark Implement or head to landmarkimp.com today and experience the Landmark difference.
This July, Acres is celebrating the birth of our nation. The fireworks include the opportunity to save big with great pricing on our late model John Deere ag equipment. Plus, you can lock in interest rates as low as 1.9% on select used John Deere planters, tractors, sprayers, and combines. Red hot rates combined with our explosive discounts make July the perfect time to buy and save. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer July 31st, 2025. Substitute financing. Offer may change anytime without notice.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, second segment, old school to new school way. A lot going on. I didn't get fully through it before we ended the segment. But I think it's like pre-training camp. And my favorite team, not really, but one of my favorite owners, man, Jerry Jones. Hey, man, I know I'm tight. I know I'm stingy. But that man is stingy. He said, listen, I don't care what you do. I don't want to pay you. But he holds out, then he overpays. And before I get into Jerry Jones, I met Jerry Jones one time. Twice. I wanted to visit the Dallas, but another time, that was real quick. Kind of probably knew he wasn't going to sign me. It was a high and by. Thanks for coming. You know what I mean? And but he was out at Harvard, and I asked him about marketing and raising money, and he's like, "Oh, that's a great question." And so he's like, and I was like, "Do you got a plan B?" Or I said, "What's your plan A and plan B? Plan A and plan B?" He's like, "I go in there and give him my plan A," and I said, "Well, what's your plan B?" He's like, "I ain't got one. Either you give me the money or not." I was like, "Okay, Jerry. Okay, then.
All right.
It worked out for him, though." He's like, "I don't need no plan B. Everything I do is working." And one thing
compare and contrast that to Cal McNair down there in Houston. Those are two big cities, two completely different plans.
Jerry Jones, he ain't never heard of no everything. He's never heard a hard no. Everything's like it's just a matter. I'm gonna keep asking a different way till you say yes, but. I think Jerry Jones, in the point of what he's saying, is maybe the undertone. Dak, I think, was legitimately hurt, and he's played hurt. But some of the times he's saying, "Hey, I pay some of these players," and all of a sudden, magically, they start to become brittle. But I think your two-star players taking shots at your two-star players that are laid on the line, and one that's going to get mega paid, because I think you see T.J. Watt now. If I'm Michael Parsons, I'm asking for $45 million. A year, and maybe 50 just to make you mad. And you got to think with Michael Parsons, he wouldn't negotiate with his agent, and that was some issues. To essentially question them, take shots at them, is probably not the best way that you want to start a 2025 year. Where I felt like they made some really good offseason moves and drafted well, and they had some young talent that they really had. They got Guyton, they found a running back. I think Dak's coming back. You got Knucklehead Pickens, and then obviously got CeeDee Lamb. I think they got bigger against the defensive line. And then you got Schottenheimer, who needs all the help he can get from that locker room. I think you just originally just drove a fork or just a knife right through the middle of that locker room, considering that you have two different types of players. One player that really laid it on the line for you, especially during COVID and all that stuff. Told the company line, you dragged him along, and then you paid him as a top quarterback when he really wasn't, but it's your own doing. And then you have another player who is essentially had early comparisons to LT and is unstoppable when healthy. and does a lot of things off the field, podcasts and all that stuff, and had maybe his dedication questioned at times, but still is in a down year for him, 12, 13 sacks, and definitely is a guy you got a game plan for, and you got to pay. Throwing them under the bus when you need your team to be more tight than ever, when you're looking up at the Commanders and Philadelphia, it was probably not the best business move for Jerry Jones, but we can only see what happens in the future.
I think there's a couple things I got on this. First of all, J.J. Watt said something very, very similar. He says, anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. That's a guy who's been through it. That's a guy who got his money, made a huge impact in the pretty well. And then when you look at the Cowboys offseason, like you were alluding to, Jay, all they had to do to make it, a perfectly normal run-of-the-mill, pretty chill for the Cowboys offseason was sign Micah Parsons to an extension. Right. You know it's coming. You know the longer you wait, the more you're going to have to pay. The TJ and Myles Garrett first, now TJ Watt. Those are two guys in the same camp that just drove Micah Parsons' price up pretty substantially. And now you're talking bad about the guy that you ostensibly want to re-sign, who you made a dumb decision and waited even longer than you needed to pay. It's bad business. It's horrible optics for a Cowboys team that I think could have come into this year under the radar with not a splashy, in-your-face, big-name hire in Schottenheimer, with a good, solid, not, groundbreaking NFL draft. You made some questionable decisions maybe in free agency and who you let walk and who you brought in, but it would have been just an average offseason devoid of headlines in the negative if all you had done would be re-sign Micah Parsons first. Because if you sign him to the Myles Garrett deal, you lock him up at 40 per year, and then Garrett gets 40 and a half or 41, and then TJ Watt gets, 41 and a half like he did, you're saying, hey, we got Micah Parsons, paid, and we got him on a discount at the same time. Win-win. Right. He got paid. He was the highest. He understands the nature of the business. Things come and go. But instead, you waited. You're costing yourself even more money, and now you're pissing the player off at you. What are we doing, Jer?
Yeah, it's not only that, then. Why would you – what's attractive of going to play? I mean, Dallas is one of the most iconic franchises in the whole world, as far as, branding. So what would make Jay Foreman or Austin Orman, unless it's like crazy amount of money, to go there as a free agent in the next few years, considering that you're not paying the third or fourth best pass rusher, and you're the youngest out of all those pass rushers, top dollar. Micah Parsons is a top 4 pass rusher. When he's on his game, he's unstoppable, just like TJ Watt, but he's the youngest. You're not paying him, and then you're publicly bashing him. So now you're a little bit of Al Davis and Marcus Allen. Is it personal, or you just don't want to play him? I think it's you're thinking, you're really, really short-sighted, but then also it could hurt you long-term. No matter how iconic the Dallas Cowboys, star is and how big your stadium is, your football team hasn't been up to snuff, and you're losing fans, but then also you're losing brand awareness as well, because now that's the brand. The Jerry Jones press conference after wins or losses, and then more importantly, when you don't want to pay your best players. I understand it if you don't want to play your middle ground or worst players. You don't want to pay your best players. Mm-hmm. If you didn't think Dak Prescott was good, you could have traded him or cut him years ago. And you kept him around, and now you're having a little buyer's remorse because Jalen Hurts is playing well. Well, when you needed Dak to do well, you didn't have any receivers around him. And you got rid of Amari Cooper, who was essentially the quietest 1,100 yards as possible, and you gave him away for a box of crackers and a couple pieces of bubble gum. And so yeah. It wasn't a good look. I understand what he was saying. Guys can get hurt, and they have to, they're probably trying to look at longevity. But really, you're not getting paid off of last year's production. you're getting paid off a year's production. And Myles Garrett has been produced, or not Myles Garrett, but Michael Parsons has been producing ever since he got in the league.
Of the big money franchises in other sports, right? You think about the Dodgers, have a lot of money, have their fair share of history. They've dominated the NL West recently, but they're ahead of the game in a lot of analytics and technology. They make savvy trades. They make savvy free agent signings, and the Cowboys aren't doing that. You don't really hear a peep from the Dodgers front office. You think about on the other side of things, the Yankees on the low have one of the better farm systems in baseball. Yankees just relaxed their rules on facial hair, right? That's a little thing. They gave them some positive headlines. Even the Lakers, right? I mean, not perfectly run by any sense of the organization or word, but new ownership coming in. They did make the move to go get LeBron. They did make the move to go get Luka. You can blame them or credit them for that however you want. But when you look at these big money, iconic franchises, Jerry Jones isn't investing in the little things that makes these franchises, great and give them staying power. It's one thing to have financial advantage. It's another thing to use it. Jerry Jones clearly is not. And not only is he not using his money, he's burning what goodwill he may or may not have left. I mean, it's been, 30 years since they made it to a Super Bowl, give or take, about that long since they made it to an NFC championship game even. And sure, it's more about the players on the field, but there's a definite argument to be made that starts up top. And Jerry is not doing the Cowboys as many favors as Mark Walters is doing for the Dodgers or the Steinbrenners have done for the Yankees. It's just not even close.
Yeah, the problem is that when you think of the Commanders, and you got Magic Johnson, obviously with the Dodgers, he's plugging the holes that maybe ownership can't plug themselves, and he's a good face of the program. Whereas Jerry or the franchise, where Jerry Jones wants to be everything, he has to be. And you know what? Look, he said it. I make the money, I pay the guys, I should be able to make the decisions, and I'll live with it. And that's what he wants to do. But then also, I don't think he's really come to the realization that the Dallas Cowboys are garbage, and they're becoming slowly but surely the laughingstock of the NFL, considering some of the antics that they do, the way they lose games, the hiring process. You got to think, how are you going to get just say Andy Reid, decides to leave Kansas City and you want to get Andy Reid, before you pass it down to your son. Why would Andy Reid go with Jerry Jones, considering Mike McCarthy, who Andy Reid knows, was strung along for 2 weeks, knowing they were going to fire him, but kept him, and then it hurt him from getting a head coaching job, in particular, maybe the New Orleans job or maybe another job. So it's not only the players, it's the coaches and future hiring practices, and then obviously the paying practices in the real time when you have the players.
It's just a really tough look, and it's completely unforced, right? At least it seems like it from this side. It doesn't seem like this is anything but Jerry wanting control, Jerry wanting to do things his way. And again, he's the owner of one of the most valuable franchises in sports. He's sitting on that nest egg, and good for him for that. But man, if you say you're about winning, prove you're about winning. Jerry Jones hasn't done that for decades. Now, they've had some good teams that have fallen short in the playoffs, absolutely. But every time it seems like Dallas is close, or Dallas is, in a spot of normalcy, here comes Jerry Jones again to say something or do something. You're just like, dude, you almost had it. You were so close. You're right there on the brink of being normal, and you just couldn't help yourself.
Yeah, well, I don't think anything Jerry's done as an owner has been normal. You come in, you fire Tom Landry, you get Jimmy Johnson, you win all the Super Bowls, and you're like, I want the credit, and he's the coach and essentially the GM. So you couldn't just sit back. And then ever since then, you ran off Bill Parcells. You fired Wade Phillips after, being very successful. You hired Dave Campo because you could essentially tell him what to do. So I don't think anything is ever going to be normal down there in Dallas, but they're very, very close. And it comes out on the field, essentially, in clock management and all that other type of stuff. And so it's going to be interesting to see what Dallas does. They actually had a good offseason. I think they did. I think they really plugged some holes that needed to be plugged. Very quiet offseason for them. And then here we go right before training camp, probably out there in Oxnard. And just think of Brian Schottenheimer saying, you can't say anything. You don't have any. You ain't even coached the NFL game yet as a head coach. You can't say nothing. You just got to sit there and just roll along with it. And now you're losing credibility in the locker room because the boss man is essentially punking you and deteriorating your ability to create a winning culture inside the locker room. So I think it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if Jerry Jones tries to clean it up or not, but I doubt he will. We'll see if those quotes and those thoughts come back up if they struggle at any point in time during this NFL season. But we're up against the block. We're going to take a quick break, come back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, live in effect down here in Las Vegas. Old School, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
This July, Acres is celebrating the birth of our nation. The fireworks include the opportunity to save big with great pricing on our late model John Deere ag equipment. Plus, you can lock in interest rates as low as 1.9% on select used John Deere planters, tractors, sprayers, and combines. Red hot rates combined with our explosive discounts make July the perfect time to buy and save. Don't wait. These deals won't last long. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer July 31st, 2025. Some approved financing. Offer may change anytime without notice.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SartorHeyman.com.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Foreman, Austin Orman, putting a bow on this bad boy. First day up in the hotel, early flight, red eyes, tired, but we're gonna, obviously level up, energy up because we got a nonstop coverage at the first day of the Big Ten Media Days. Austin, I know we talked about it obviously on the block, and we'll have all our Phil Steele books and so Lindy's, so forth and so on. Tell me one team or player that you're excited to see up close and personal tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow I think there's a lot of intrigue for me. I think for my money, day one's probably the best day, not just because Nebraska is going, but I know you and Nick went out to Bloomington last year. I think getting an up close and personal look at the guys that Indiana is bringing, guys that were initially recruited by Signetti at James Madison and followed him there. Those are three all-conference guys that Indiana's bringing along. Going to be curious to see them. And then, of course, the headliners, right? It's going to be obvious. Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, going to be guys that are taking the podium. Those are top 10 NFL draft picks, maybe top 5 in Jeremiah Smith's case, coming up here in a couple years. So I'm really excited just to see them. I know DP's brought this up from time to time, because you've been in this space before and you've seen what, really good college players and what eventual NFL players look like. But, it's been a while for me since I've been up close and personal at that level of talent, just to see what those guys look like, how they move, and what they say, right? How they handle the expectations for Ohio State coming off of last season. Obviously, they're their own people, but I'm curious to see what kind of message Ryan Day has as well, and how well the three players that he brings to Las Vegas with him echo that message or bring out one of their own.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, how they wear the badge of national champion. And, we kind of knew Michigan would be in the mix the year before or the year that they won it. Ohio State avoided them like the plague. And it'll be interesting to see the posturing that goes on and the interaction in between players. And then obviously, the middle group, see who's, poised to make a move, because I don't think people envisioned Illinois 10 games last year. Definitely didn't envision Kirk Signetti, right? It was like, all right, here he comes and says stuff or whatever. But Illinois, I think, had a sneaky and a quiet 10-win season. It was very dominant at times doing their thing, and now the expectations are raised really, really high. So, I think it's good for Nebraska to get out there and get the party started and do their thing. But then also I think it's good to see how everybody reacts to Nebraska. Dylan's going to be there. I think it's going to be a good experience for him to, rock the mic a little bit and deal with, see how he does with, I don't know if necessarily be hard questions, but just the stage of being out there in front of everybody and your peers, and obviously measuring up against other players. So anyways, good first day. Appreciate everybody's listening and support. Make sure you tune in all day tomorrow. And obviously before we get on air down here in Las Vegas, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School and New School way. We'll holler at you later.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at starterheyman.com.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at Window